Hello, and welcome to our latest Kinetic session. I'm Kingsley Johnson, and each week I invite elite athletes, business owners, and thought leaders to share their strategies, techniques, and ideas to achieve more. The purpose of these sessions is to provide a little inspiration to help us all navigate these exceptional times. At Kinetic PD, our team of world-class athletes and business trainers help organisations embed the psychology of elite sport in their teams. And we do this to drive high performance and well-being at work. Our interactive workshops, professional coaching programs, and recruitment support services all help to embed the behaviours, attitudes, and mindsets to achieve more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our session, and enjoy. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm here with Annie Vernon, and Annie was an Olympic rower who won a silver medal in Beijing in 2008. Annie and the team were clearly disappointed on the podium as they were expected to win gold. Annie is also a two-time world champion. Annie has written a fascinating book called Mind Games, An Insider's Guide to the Psychology of Elite Athletes. Her research for the book included speaking to a vast array of elite athletes and coaches and delving into scientific research to create a truly amazing book. It's a great honor to have Annie with us today and to share her insights to inspire and to challenge our thinking in these exceptional times. Hello, Annie.
Hi, Kingsley. Hi, great to be here.
And how are you today?
Yeah, a bit like everyone else, just not really sure what to do day to day, but luckily we've got a lot of outside space. So, yeah, life's pretty good and the sun's shining.
Fantastic. What I wanted to do was get straight into it, if that's okay. And one of my first questions was, for those people that are listening to this for the first time and they may not know about you or have a copy of your book yet, could you tell us a little bit about your athlete career and also your business?
Yeah, so my career was as a full-time international athlete. I guess the first thing I say about professional sport is it doesn't really bear any relation to amateur sport. So I'm sure that everyone knows somebody who takes their triathlon very seriously or gets up at the crack of dawn to go to the gym. Well, when your sport is your job, it's a totally different kettle of fish. The expectations are different, the responsibilities, the lifestyle, the time frame, the way you plan, everything about your life is completely different. So I was lucky enough to have experienced professional sport for 8 years on the British rowing team. Following my retirement after the 2012 Olympics, I looked at a number of different career options, but I guess the thing that always really interested me was trying to explain elite sport from the inside out. And such a key part of elite sport is the mental side. And I really felt like that was the bit that people didn't talk about. You know, it's very easy to talk about how hard people train, the technology they use, altitude training, getting in the lab, all of that. But actually just the nuts and bolts of how people built their confidence, how they developed resilience, how they prepared for the big races, how they dealt with highs and lows, successes and failure. I felt like that was a story that just wasn't being told about elite sports. So I sat down to write a book, Mind Games, with Bloomsbury Publishers in 2017, and it came out just over a year ago.
Can you give us a bit of a flavour of the book as well?
Sure. So the book aims to lift the lid on the mental side of sport. So it aims to show how elite athletes have trained their mental skills in exactly the same way that they've trained their physical skills. So, for example, you know, we all know that, I don't know, a top footballer, top rugby player, top tennis player, they will spend hours and hours and hours just perfecting one thing. Free kick, drop goal, 2 hours on a serve, 2 hours on a backhand. We all know that that's how elite athletes operate. But I didn't think that people necessarily knew that the same level of effort, the same level of trial and error, making mistakes, learning from them, moving on, that also goes into the mental side. That also goes into things like learning how to work in a team, learning how to be coached, learning how to channel your competitiveness in the right way, so it's a positive competitiveness and it doesn't eat you up inside. So all of these, the full range of mental skills that every elite athlete needs when they run out into the field of play, I wanted to look at how people train them and how they think, so that the next time you're watching Serena Williams at Wimbledon or you're watching Usain Bolt at the Olympic Games, actually you can have a better idea of what they're thinking and how their brain is organised.
Fantastic, and thank you very much for sharing that. That's really insightful as well. That kind of leads into my second question, and it's more around the athlete mindset. And the athlete mindset is often, as you mentioned, associated to high performance or elite performance. And I just wondered if, based on your experience of being an elite athlete, if there was any information or ideas or thoughts that you'd care to share for people who may be finding the current situation that we all find ourselves quite challenging.
Mm.
So that whole idea of how to be okay when things are not necessarily okay.
I think one of the key mental skills that I would say runs right across every athlete, every sport, every level of success is just the ability to break things down into a step-by-step process. You know, you don't look at the Olympic Games and say, wow, I want to go to the Olympic Games in 4 years' time. You would say, okay, that's cool, Olympic Games, that's happening in 4 years' time. Let's park that. What do I do today? What do I do in this second, in this moment? How can I change what I'm doing right now in order to set me on that pathway? So I think you almost have the big dreams, but you leave them on the shelf and you focus instead on the day-to-day. And I think at the moment, when we are living day-to-day, because there's no sense of what the future holds or what's around the corner or when the current restrictions will be lifted, we are all just living with that. Okay, fine. What are we going to, what's the plan for the morning? How are we going to manage childcare? What's happening with my work? I have this call with my boss, and all the enormity of what's happening in the world. Actually, leave that aside and just focus on what can I do today, in this moment, in this hour, just to make my life a little bit better. And I guess it'll just help you feel in control.
Fantastic, and thank you again. Another question I have for you is, talent, self-awareness and attitude are vital in most opinions in terms of elite athletes and any athlete, I guess, in terms of their success. And personally, I believe the same is true for people at work. And an area that is of real interest to many people is coaching. And I wondered if you could share any thoughts on the impact your coaching has had on you and how it could be useful to people in these current times as well.
Well, I think coaching is a really interesting one because good coaching is transformational, both the person delivering it and the person receiving it. Bad coaching is completely destructive and abusive. But of course, unfortunately, we'll all probably experience both kinds of coaching in our lives. Elite sport has got some amazing inspirational people who are genuinely motivated by making their athletes just that little bit better and helping their athletes achieve their dreams. But it's also got some people who are quite power hungry, quite ego driven, and actually it's all about them. It's not about the people they're coaching. So I think it's easy to just think all coaching is good, but that's not necessarily the case. The trick is to find the right coach for you. Some people will find that a coach who's more of a taskmaster, a hard driver, they'll get the most out of them. Some people prefer coaches who are more collaborative. That's how they maximize their potential. Some people like to talk about everything. Some people like to just be told what to do. Some people like to be coached by somebody of the same sex as them, and others might prefer somebody who's of a different sex. It's so individual as to who is that person that gets the most out of you. And I guess my advice would be, shop around. Don't accept that just because this coach has worked for this person, that it would work for you. And I suppose in sport, coaching is so innate, right from our first experience of a PE teacher at school, we'll all have been coached in sports. Transfer to the workplace, and that's not the case. Having a personal coach, a business coach, a life coach, it's still quite rare, I would say, and there isn't really that widespread ethos of coaching in the workplace, which I think is a real shame, because why would you not try to get better constantly at what you do? Why would you ever want to stand still? I mean, people are happy to read self-help books, but they won't necessarily they don't necessarily transfer that across to having somebody in their life who is their coach. I mean, certainly the best coaches I've had, they've been people who are individuals I really respect, but also people who are just good at having those key conversations with me at particular times, just giving me that bit of motivation or helping me figure stuff out for myself or just giving me that tiny bit of inspiration. And it's not like they were standing over me every single moment of my rowing career telling me what to do. But just occasionally they'd say something, or they'd plant a seed, or they'd, answer a question that I had. And it was like someone had turned the light on. And I thought, oh, right, I get it now. I understand what I need to do here, or I understand a new thing about my sport that I didn't know before. And now I'm working on the other side of the desk as a coach myself. I find it just almost more exciting trying to understand each individual that I'm coaching and unpick them and say, okay, who are you as a person? Let's look at you as an individual. Okay, fine. So what do we need to get out of this relationship? And then the third step is, what do we do to make you better in the workplace? But it has to start with the individual and the person at heart.
Absolutely. And again, so many points that you mentioned that resonate, and that idea of shopping around, because like you say, there's so many examples of coaches who are in the limelight, and people may automatically think that could be the right coach for me, and it's not necessarily true.
Exactly. I mean, there might be somebody who coaches one of your bosses, and you think, oh gosh, I need to be coached by them because they work with one of my bosses. And you think, well, not necessarily. If that's not the right person for you, then that's not the right person to approach. Find the right fit for your personality.
Absolutely. And also what you were saying about almost like those light bulb moments.
Sure.
Myself, I've got a coach as well, and I think one of the real values that I get out of that relationship is almost that perspective and that clarity at certain times. So yeah, really, really fascinating.
And I mean, the best coaches are worth, the huge amounts of money that they charge, because they're that good. They can help you unlock a high level of performance.
With that in mind, I'd love to get an idea of some of the sporting heroes or some of the moments of achievement that have inspired you.
I think I guess inspiration is I always find inspiration more inspiring when it's someone like you. We could all watch Usain Bolt to win his whatever he won, 9 gold medals over 3 Olympics, and say, wow, that's incredible what he did. That consistency and the ability to peak at the right time, amazing. But is Usain Bolt anything like me? No. Actually, I think we're both inspired by those big role models of people that we see performing on television. But actually, we're inspired by people around us, friends, family, teammates, work colleagues, people who just seem to do things in a really impressive way. And I guess when I first started out in the rowing team, I was quite lucky. It was a time where the team had just coming into a period of real success. So there was lots of women on the team who were a bit older than me who just had a lot of success for the first time, and that was to start a bit of a winning streak. So I could almost look around the changing room and pick bits from each person and say, well, your self-confidence is amazing. I want to learn about that. The way that you work in a team is phenomenal. Tell me how you do that. The way that you come back from all the injuries you've had, that's so inspirational. I want that from you. So I'd almost pull bits from various people and put that into a jigsaw, and then try and make that jigsaw myself, at the same time understanding what my strengths were. But so I suppose the inspiration that I've had from other people, it is just looking at other people's strengths and saying, well, what can I learn from this? What relates to me in the way that this person operates? And of course, when I was a kid, it was from the part of the UK that I'm from. It's okay, who are our sporting heroes that have gone out and done things, and they were probably my inspiration, because I knew where they grew up and I knew the village they were from, or whatever it is. But I think we all need inspiration, particularly at the moment, don't we, Kingsley? We all need a little bit of inspiration in our lives, just to perk us up. And at the moment, the thing that's inspiring me is the amount of voluntary work that's going on where I live, the amount of people who are bending over backwards to help those in need. I mean, it just brings tears to your eyes hearing some of the stories of what people are doing for others. It's wonderful.
Absolutely, yes. And again, when you mentioned someone like you being more inspirational, it just brought a smile to my face. And I've never thought of it in the respect of pulling together the pieces of a jigsaw, because like you say, in my working career, I've worked with a variety of teams and leaders, and there are times when I've looked at individuals and thought, that part of you is amazing. How can I tap into that? How can I develop that skill or that ability in me? And likewise, daily we're blown away by the humanity that we're seeing in this current sort of situation, where people are just doing things because they can. There's no ulterior motive, and I think, like you say, that is such a beautiful thing. And yeah, more power to all of those people, without a shadow of a doubt as well.
Yeah.
So, almost coming to the end, just a couple of questions. With the 24-hour news cycle, and I'm sure, like me, you have seen various things on platforms like YouTube, Facebook, people sending you things that may have misinformation on them as well.
Yeah.
And I wondered if there was anything that you were personally listening to or reading to help block out some of that noise.
Yeah, at the beginning of this whole crisis, I did kind of decide I was going to ban myself from reading the 24-hour news on the BBC website or wherever, because I feel like it's just a way of winding yourself up, and particularly social media. I just try and stay off it at the moment because there's so, like you've said, there's so much misinformation there, and it's not a healthy way to live, is it? I mean, I'm quite lucky, so I'm a judge on a sports book awards, the British Sports Book Awards, in fact, sponsored by the Telegraph. And the awards dinner was supposed to be in June. It's now been delayed. So I actually have all my short list of books to read at the moment. So I've been sent six sporting biographies to read. So actually, that is a fantastic way to block out all the white noise of what's going on, and just enjoy learning about people that I've perhaps never heard about, or learning something new about 1960s English footballers. So that's currently my downtime is kind of my toddler goes to sleep and I crack open a new biography and read about someone I've never heard of before and learn some things about them.
That sounds pretty amazing. And yes, I'm so impressed that you're a judge on the awards panel. That's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I'm a judge on the biography section. She's sadly not. My book is nominated in a different category. I was hoping it would be nominated in this one. Probably a conflict of interest there somewhere.
Probably a slight one.
Yeah, but this also hopefully means I can go to the dinner.
Yes.
It being delayed, so I'm actually quite pleased it's been delayed.
Good. So, on to my final question. As a business owner, as a wife, and as a parent, do you have any additional thoughts that you'd like to share that can help us all navigate these exceptional times?
Well, I know this sounds like a terrible cliche, and I apologise to listeners in advance, but at this time we do have to control the controllables. And I know that's easier said than done, because the point is, if you could do something about it, you do something about it. You wouldn't just worry about it. So if it's out of your control, chances are your only option is to worry about it. But as much as we can, we must try to shut out the enormity and the anxiety and the worry and the stress of the global health crisis that we're living through, and just focus on the positives of what's going on. Yes, everyone's income is affected. Everyone's life has been turned upside down, but there are still positives. We are spending more family time. Perhaps we're learning how to live more simply. We're perhaps stopping and having conversations with our neighbours who we haven't spoken to for months. Well, actually, there is some in the darkness. There is some light. So let's just keep focusing on the day-to-day. Let's focus on those small acts of kindness and try to find the positives.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much. And what a wonderful way to end this episode. So that just leaves me to say thank you again, Annie, for being such a fantastic guest. And yes, thank you.
Thanks very much, Kingsley. It's great to chat.
We thoroughly enjoyed making this session, and for more information on our guest speaker, please see the links in the description. And to learn more about the Kinetic PD team and how we help organisations embed the psychology of elite sport in their teams, visit our website at kineticpd.co.uk. And it just leaves me to say, we are stronger together, enjoy the journey, and stay safe.